Hey guys, welcome to episode 9 of the Knit Now Swatch Later podcast. My name is Courtney and today is Sunday, February 16th. This is not a normal podcast day for me. Normally I try to podcast on Fridays, but with it being tax season, that is not always possible. So I'm coming to you on a Sunday, and I have also relocated. If you noticed, if you've been with us from the beginning, right now I have moved into the living room. I'm sitting in front of my new yarn cabinet, which is beautiful. I love it so much. So this is actually only holding part of my stash, if you can see that. A lot of the frame. So this shelf here is all of my fingering weight yarn, and then let me lower you guys a little bit, and that is all of my sport weight DK yarn. Anything that is heavier than a sport weight is still in my craft room. So we did a little bit of sorting and downsizing over the weekend so that I could at least try to fit most of it out here. My husband thought the whole stash was going to fit out here, but I knew better. But anyway, this is I didn't even say, okay, this is a knitting, crocheting, fiber-friendly podcast, so let's jump right in. Today I have 3 finished objects to share with you guys. I know, although I'm not sure if it really counts as 3 because they're all the same thing. I made Scrubbies. So these are 3 kitchen, what are they called? Tulle Kitchen Scrubbies by Natty. She's the Love and Stitches podcast, and she released this pattern, I think, last week. And I was really intrigued, so I decided to pick up some tulle from Michael's. And you knit these scrubbies out of a spool of tulle that you can get at a craft store. So that's what I did. I used a size J hook. So here is my hook, and I believe this is a Hobby Lobby crochet hook, maybe. I could be wrong. I like the ones with the grip. So very good pattern. I highly recommend it. It was kind of hard on my hands, but I got over it and I made 3 of them. And then this color is, I believe, Dusty Rose. I got from Michael's. And then this, I don't think had a color name. It's like a ballerina pink color, which is very pretty, and I thought that they paired very well together. I had a little bit left over from each spool, so I made 1 more. And I had to use 6-inch tulle because no matter where I looked, I could not find 3-inch tulle. I started at Hobby Lobby and I couldn't find tulle at all, which was kind of surprising to me. I shouldn't say I couldn't find any. The only kind of tulle that I could find was like on a big bolt. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to crochet with that. So I went over to Michael's and they also did not have 3-inch tulle, which I thought was kind of weird, but I found 6-inch tulle and I made it work. So there are those. And then I have, in one of my favorite project bags from the Silver Shed, I have a new pin, which is this adorable little Dalek from, I think it's Geek Boy something. I don't know. I'll put the name at the bottom of the screen. Also, I forgot to say, you can find me on Instagram as Knit Now Swatch Later and on Ravelry as Pup. Everything that I show here you can find on my projects page on Ravelry. One day, guys. One day I'll be able to have a nice, succinct intro instead of all over the place, but it is what it is. So in here is living a whip basket project that I ended up frogging and then I recast on, and this is the progress that I've made so far. So this is my Heathrow shawl, or Heathrow cardigan. I don't know why I said shawl. This is my Heathrow cardigan by Marie Green, and it is super pretty. I'll hold this up a little bit better so you can see it. It's showing up kind of, actually I think that color is pretty accurate on the camera. It's a little bit, it's showing up a little bit more blue on the camera, but it's a little more green in person. And I am knitting the size 1, I believe, of this pattern, and I'm using the needle size that it calls for. I don't remember. I think it's a size 6. I don't know. And then I am using Prairie Spun DK. And this is a sport weight yarn in the color indigo. It is 100% wool. And here's the color. And it's very nice to work with. I ended up frogging it because after looking at the instructions, I realized that I had done the cable pattern. You're supposed to do, without giving too much away, you're supposed to do a cable pattern over a certain number of your cast-on stitches, and I was doing it all the way across. So it's probably why I did not like it. I need a drink. So I have here in my cute little mug, be the person your dog thinks you are, I have what I have been calling honey tea, but my husband says it doesn't count as tea because it's just honey and water. But it's really good and it's been helping. I thought I was getting a little bit sick yesterday, so, and I still kind of sound a little scratchy, but I've been drinking that and it seems to be helping, so I'm calling it tea because I don't like tea, but I can drink that. So, moving on to my next work in progress, which I have in this beautiful bag by Mrs. S Creations on Etsy. And I have dubbed this my Hey Sister bag because all of these pins are from Hey Sister. So, kind of makes sense, right? Living in here, I have cast on the second sock of my Whispers in the Wind socks by Litton, who is the crazy sock lady. And I think I've finished 2 repeats of the pattern. And I am knitting these on my US size 1 2.25 millimeter Chow Goo needles. I'm using the Magic Loop method. This yarn is a purpley yarn that I dyed myself, and I'm really liking it. I don't have the, I'm trying to put a progress keeper on my socks so that I can show you guys next week. Here's my little Oogie Boogie. He's from my little Oogie Boogie stitch marker from Simply Serving, which I love. I wanted to put it on there before I forget. I always forget to put my progress keepers on my project so I can show you guys that I really am making progress. I'm more of a, I think we decided that I'm a process knitter because I like to have a lot of things going all at once, and I get bored super quickly of the same thing over and over again, and I don't really care if I use the finished project a lot. I give away a lot of my knits to friends and family, my husband, so I'm definitely more of a process knitter in that aspect. Alright, so the next thing I have to show you guys is another whip. This is my Scrubby project, which I keep in this basket that I got off of Amazon. It's a pretty good sized basket, and I just throw all my scraps and my minis in here. And I think I might have shown this to you guys last week, I can't remember, but I wanted to make sure that I showed it again because I have made a ton of progress since my last podcast. Let me just pull off all this dog hair. Here's my corner to corner that I have recently started working on again. I've worked on it a little bit almost every day, and I am still loving it. So here I have my little TARDIS journal progress keeper that I'm using to hold this stitch because this project no longer fits in a project bag. So I used to have it in a project bag that I got from Pineapple Yarn that I already put away, so I don't have it out here to show you guys. But I keep it in this basket now, just on its own. And I keep my crochet hooks, some snips, and what else is in here? I think like a needle or something. Snips, and my favorite needles for weaving in ends. I get these at Hobby Lobby, and I love them because they have this little loop on the end for you to thread the yarn through instead of trying to shove it through the tiny eye of a regular needle. But I also keep my hook in here. This is a Tulip 60 3.5 millimeter hook, and I love this needle, it's a hook. I love this hook so much, and I love the little grip here. Usually working with smaller hooks and needles really hurts my hands, but these hooks are awesome. I think I ordered that one off of Amazon, but whenever I work on this, I pull it out, and when I'm all finished, I put the hook back in this bag, and then I throw it all back in here. But I'll show you, I have a bunch of, you guys see that? Yep, a bunch of mini sets in there, minis that I dyed, and I'm just kind of working through those right now, working them into my blanket. And I don't think I've showed this on the podcast, but this is a kit, oh my goodness, of Fingering Weight Minis by Hey Sister. This is kit number 2. They sold these little kits with their little baby sock blockers, which I have showed on the podcast before, and I loved these colors. I loved the sock blockers, so it had to happen. I also have down in here a bunch of other yarns that I dyed. So this is a mini. I used the same recipe for this as I did for my Whispers in the Wind socks. So here's that. And this was supposed to be like a Winnie the Pooh type color. But then the red turned to orange, so now I'm left with this color, whatever that is. And I loved this like orange color is so pretty. And then I have a really awesome like TARDIS blue, which I was so excited that I was able to get this color down. But I don't really have a recipe. I'm not a professional dyer. I like to just mess around with color and yarn when I'm at home. So I have one more thing to show you guys. And this is not really, I have not started it yet, but I have plans. And I am going to keep it in my little Doctor Who themed bag with the Dalek on the front. And my husband requested a hat, so I am going to use this Nicole Stitch Studio storybook in the color Marine Blue. And I'm so excited. I am going to knit him a pattern. This is called the Insulate Hat by Amy Van Der Laar, I think is how you say it. there's a glare. There we go. And I am so excited to cast this on. It has, let me see if I can find another picture that shows it off well. But it has little dolics around the edge of it. So I am super excited to cast this on. We found this blue while we were sorting out yarn and putting it into this cabinet behind me, and I thought that that would make a really awesome hat. Actually, let me back up. My friend was here yesterday and she said that I should definitely make a TARDIS hat out of it. And when she had said it, I thought that was a great idea. That's what I'm gonna do. And then when I was looking on Ravelry for a TARDIS hat, the Dalek hat came up, and I am a huge fan of Daleks. So it's happening, you guys. It's happening. And that's pretty much all of the knitting content for today. A little bit about what's been going on lately. I didn't get to podcast, I didn't get to record on Friday because tax season has been so crazy and just long hours, and by the time I get home, I'm done. I'm ready to go to bed, and I am an introvert, so talking to people for the entire day and then coming home and recording was just not happening. I was so tired after interacting all day long. Normally, outside of tax season, I'm usually up in an office by myself with just one other person, and it's not too bad. But tax season, we bring in a lot of new preparers, and just with clients and people coming in and out all the time, it's a lot for an introvert for me to handle. So I was just done on Friday, and that's why I didn't get to it. So sorry about that, guys, but I'm trying to make it up to you by recording on a Sunday. So hopefully you'll stick with me through this busy time. But the only other things that happened, I couldn't record yesterday because we had a huge surprise planned. So my in-laws are turning 50, and my sister-in-law decided that we were going to throw them a surprise birthday party. They have, one of them is at the beginning of February and one of them is at the end of February, so we usually just have one birthday party for the both of them in the middle of February. So she decided to have a surprise birthday party for them, and my brother-in-law now lives in Florida. So my husband and I decided that we were going to fly him in for their birthday and surprise everybody. So it went over really well. I think they all enjoyed that. So that was why I couldn't record yesterday, but I'm squeezing it in, making it work. But that is pretty much it. The only other thing, I forgot to mention, I do have another finished object that I won't be able to show because it is a sweater for my dog, and he is tucked away sleeping right now, so he's not going to be appearing on the podcast, but I will try to put a photo in here. He loves it. I knit it out of just a scrap ball of burlap pop, and I think I made a project page for it. So you can look on my Ravelry, or you can look on my Instagram for pictures of it if I forgot to pop one in here. But that was fun. That worked up in, I started it at night, and then the next morning when I woke up I finished it. So, and that pattern is, it's like Dandy Dog Sweater by Ashley Konecki, who is Heart Hook Home Crochet on Facebook, and I believe she has an Instagram, she has a blog, all that jazz, and lots of free patterns, a couple of paid patterns too. So if you're interested in that, that's where you can find her. I don't know why I can't talk today. But other than that, that's pretty much the content for this episode. So I try to podcast every 2 weeks. If you liked this episode, make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys soon. So happy knitting. Bye.